And I'm here with Amir Dostal. He's the founder of Global Partnerships Forum. Welcome, Amir.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here, sir.
Well, it's a great day for you to be here because it's International Women's Day and they're kicking off the Decade of Women initiative over at the UN. What does that mean to you and your work? Let's get started there.
So, at the end of the day, every day should be an International Day for Women. And I think this Decade for Women, the launch tonight, will be a game changer, not just for the international community, but for private sector, civil society at large. The UN actually has been trying to make an effort to address the imbalances, the gender imbalances, try and provide for women's empowerment, gender equity, etc. And under the leadership of this Secretary General, a lot has been done. Even Ban Ki-moon did a lot. But now it's time for the men in the world to take that lead. And I'm delighted to see that this evening there'll be many men who will stand up and commit to doing that.
How does Global Partnerships Forum bring together innovators to help solve these problems, to attack things like SDG 5, which is the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is all about women's getting equality for women?
So we are basically a convening platform. We try and convene change makers, decision makers. And we don't bring them together to talk, we get them to act. We're also privileged to be a strategic partner with UN Women. And I'm honored to be the HeForShe champion, Planet 50/50 champion. And what we do is we say to them, what's the concrete initiative you will do to impact women in society? How will you ensure financial inclusion? How will you address violence against women and children, of course? Around the world, different cultures have different attitudes, and the cultures are changing. Now, people are starting to say, we must give women the right platform, the right positioning. And I'm very pleased to see that Decade for Women will be focused on exactly that.
Well, let's talk platforms from a technological perspective, because a lot of people at the conference have been talking about using blockchain.
Yes.
To help raise up women, especially in a lot of the developing nations. Can you talk about that? Because that's certainly an interest of yours.
Well, blockchain is actually the new frontier technology. Even the UN is starting to look at it and say, how can we use it to accelerate action, take a quantum leap for the Sustainable Development Goals? Now, blockchain uses come in different shapes and sizes, and it's in very early stages of development. But you can use it to map refugees, for example, in crisis. You can map education, you can do health, water, sanitation, climate, etc. And what we want to do is to use the blockchain platform, and I'm privileged to be involved in the Blockchain Commission for Sustainable Development. Our goal is not only to convene thought leaders, but practitioners who will actually make a difference in society. And you'll be very pleased to know that there are many, many bright young people whose primary goal is not to make money, although they are making money, but to do good in society. So the generation has changed, actually, and it's very heartening to see that outcome.
Can you talk a little bit more about your optimism as we head off into this Decade of Women? Because what we've seen this year, we've seen a lot of rage, we've seen the Me Too movement. Can you talk about what you're optimistic about heading forward as we head into this Decade of Women?
You see, there's one aspect to it where media talks about certain issues, understandably, because to raise the challenges faced by women in society. At the same time, there are many companies who have already changed their regulations to ensure that women leaders, corporate leaders, get an equal say. For example, if they get a promotion, companies are now saying, we will try and help her spouse, her husband, relocate. In the olden days, it was fend for yourself. So companies are looking at it. At the UN, the Secretary General has now put in place a 50-50 ratio and has achieved that. The organization called UN Women, which is the main gender equity movement, a conglomeration of organizations, is committed to that, and under the leadership of Madame Fumzeli, who's the executive director, what she's put in place is saying, I want every man who is in a senior position, at least in government, to take the lead and say, what are you doing concretely to address that? So there is hope, there is optimism, and the Sustainable Development Goals, which are kind of under the umbrella of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, for the first time brought together private sector, civil society, academia, and media has played a great role in promoting them.
Well, thank you for coming here today and promoting them as well. Thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here, sir.